Hi, I'm Karen McCarthy, and it's time to Karen-ize. It's Wednesday, and that's when I talk about spiritual health, and I don't know what just happened out there with my dog. If you heard a big clunk, must be okay. We've been talking about love the past few weeks because of Valentine's Day, and I just wanted to kind of go on the same route, but a little bit different today, and talk about, sometimes we think that God doesn't love us if bad things happen in our lives or if we have trials, tribulations, we call them. But that is so far from true. If you think about being a parent, if we smooth the way out for our kids their entire childhood until they leave the house, we're doing them a disservice. They need to be able to make those mistakes, learn from them. That's the whole point with mistakes. And mature in order to be successful as adults. Well, it's kind of like what God does when he lets things into our lives. Sometimes it's consequences of our own behavior. Sometimes it's something that totally out of our control. But if we allow him to use those for his good or our good through him, it's amazing what can happen. I mean, I found that to be true when my dad had his brain tumor. So many wonderful things happened that wouldn't have happened because of that, probably. So many cool things from his testimony during that time, and I've talked about that before. Or when my mom had Alzheimer's, there's so much growth and learning that happened during that time that it wasn't all bad, I think about a time, was it 2 years ago, that I had who I thought was a really good friend turn out to not be a friend. And I don't know, if we had started out friends and just kind of changed, or if, I don't know. But the good thing that happened through that, because I pressed into God and I said, well, I don't understand. I don't understand what's happened. I don't get it. And through that, and through reading a book called, it's called Killing Spiders by Carlos Whitaker. Great book if you're trying to uncover some things in your past that's negatively affecting your present. I went through some of that and really took a look at myself. And I found some things in my personality that I hadn't even been aware of that didn't need to be there, shouldn't be there, and hopefully aren't there anymore. And when they try to rear up their little ugly heads, I just smash them back down. But if I hadn't had that very painful situation happen, I probably would not have taken that closer look at myself. Just a second here. Whoops, where's he going? Where are you, boo-boo? There. So a lot of really good stuff came out of it. And I'm still fine-tuning myself. I'll be doing that till I die. But some really cool things happened because I took that trial and tribulation and said, God, what do I need to learn from this? So anyway, I'm reading through, and I think I've mentioned this before, by T.D. Jakes. He's got a book called Crushing. I don't have that, but I have this devotional book. And where I'm reading now, he's talking about in John, is it 15, I think? I think it's John 15, when Jesus said he is the vine and we are the branches. And going into a little bit more explanation about that. If you haven't delved into that and the meaning behind it, gosh, there was another book. I'll have to see if I can find it. That really explains it. If you aren't a wine or a grape grower, you probably don't know a lot of this stuff. But let me just summarize some of it. Because God does the same thing for us that the wine grower, I'm sure there's a word for them, does for the vines. So when you have a grapevine, if it's healthy, that's great. If there's unhealthy parts, you cut those away. Just like with any of my potted plants or things. If I have an unhealthy part or part that's dying or dead, I cut that off. Otherwise, the plant's energy goes into trying to revive that instead of taking care of the rest of the plant. So you get rid of the dead and dying stuff so that you make the plant healthier. But then if you've done any gardening, you'll know that there are a lot of plants that even when they're healthy, you need to prune them so that they bush out or they get their blossoms or something. You have to prune even the healthy plants. And that's what God does for us. He helps us to grow and mature by pruning. And sometimes that pruning is a result of things we've done that we needed to change or not do. Sometimes it's stuff out of our control. But if we Put those into his hands and say, show me how to use this. How can you make something good come out of this? You'll be amazed at what happens. I'm going to read a little bit. It's in the devotional titled Harvesting. And it says, now think about our spiritual growth and development in relation to the tending of the grape. Our first step is to be planted, which is when we begin our journey with Christ. And when we encounter a blessing, we may see it as fruit to be enjoyed. Then when others revel in our blessings or success, we can see that as farmers of old relishing in their harvest, happy to have produced fruit and celebrating its production. But what happens when that harvest doesn't go as planned? That's called life, right? Which is prone to happen in the garden of life. Sometimes our fruitful blessings are stripped from us and carelessly trampled, which can resemble the wine press. That's where they squeezed the juice out of the grapes to make the wine, or if you're making jelly or jam. The wine press is what is used to crush grapes and drain their juice for winemaking. I guess I didn't have to explain that. It was next. What looks like pain and crushing of the harvest or blessings is actually another step toward the production of savory, sweet, and refreshing wine. Depending on how you see your crushing depends on your perspective. Could this time of being hard-pressed and squeezed be the time of missed opportunities or of blessings falling by the wayside? Or is this really much more than that? Is this the time for what you thought was fruit to be taken to another stage and prompted to bring out sweet juice to be used as wine? Your perspective on what is happening to you can make all the difference in how you handle this time. So if our perspective is, okay, God, how can you use this to make me a better person or to make my life more productive? It is amazing what will happen. So I just want to encourage you, if you are going through tough times, press into God and say, what can you show me through this that either I need to change, I need to do? What can you do to use this for your good and my good? So hope that helps, and I will talk to you later. Hi there. I was just getting ready to get my YouTube video loaded up, and I realized I forgot to say that I really appreciate those of you who have subscribed and are watching my channel and giving me likes and comments and all that kind of stuff, because that so helps this baby channel get off the ground. And if you haven't already, I would sure love it if you would subscribe, give me a comment, give me a thumbs up. Those kinds of things really help a lot with our channels. So have a great one, and I will see you later.